surprise for our CDL or bust viewers, fans. Russell is still out getting lunch somewhere. He's probably getting Shawn a cake or something for being such a good instructor. Shawn, your last name is Dillon, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So Shawn Dillon, our instructor. Shawn, how old are you?
I just turned 28 in August.
28. How long have you been an instructor for?
June 1st.
June
of
1st.
this year.
What prompted you at your young age to become an instructor and not be out driving trucks around somewhere?
Well, when I was driving over the road, I was a trainer for 2 different companies, actually, and I loved it. And I got a local job and pretty much maxed out where I was there. And my dad, like, he'd always call me, like, why don't you see, if you can be an instructor? Why don't you do this or do this? And one day I just called and I was like, hey, are you guys hiring instructors? And I talked to Debbie and she was like, yeah. And I was like, okay. So come down, filled out the application, went through the test, got my license, and loved every minute of it.
Is your dad affiliated with the trucking industry too?
Nah.
What's he do?
He just does odd stuff, just whatever he feels like, really.
And your mom not either, right?
She actually lives in New York, so.
Okay. So what prompted you to become a trucker in the first place?
Actually, my military service. In 2009, I got a license to drive a Humvee and just kept getting bigger and bigger vehicles and drove a 48-foot long vehicle in Iraq and decided I'd come back and do the same thing here.
How long did you serve overseas?
Most of the year of 2011.
Did you see some serious action?
Yeah. I was with the group that, with their shut down Iraq. Like, we pulled everybody out, took them down to Kuwait, went back in, and pulled them back out.
What's the worst thing that happened to you over there?
I hurt my knee.
Huh. Doing what?
Jumping in a ditch, actually. We got into a firefight.
To avoid being fired on?
Yeah.
What's the worst thing you saw?
Worst thing I saw? I don't know. It's, I guess, just the way, their lifestyle, how they live, like on a daily basis, and everything. There's no way I could do it.
So you didn't lose any friends?
No. Everybody that went, come back home together.
That's got to be a good feeling. When did you muster out of the service?
August 20th, 2014.
Wow, didn't even know the day. Just had your second anniversary out. And at that point, you started becoming a trainer?
No, I actually got my CDL in 2012. October 2012. It was actually my son's birthday is when I got it. And by 2013, February 2013, I was training for the first company I drove for as an owner-op. And then I decided I wanted to do flatbed, and then went over to flatbed and trained for a flatbed company.
Am I confused? I thought you said you mustered out of the service in 14 and you're already driving flatbed.
It was reserves. I was in the reserves, so I was able to drive and do that at the same time.
So when you came home from Iraq, you immediately went to work for a trucking company, but were still serving in the reserves?
I was still serving, but it was until I got back in December 2011, got my CDL October 2012, and right after that, I was gone.
When you were driving over the road, what's the furthest you went?
I've been to all 48 continental states.
Wow.
Like 6 or 7 times. So.
You have a favorite spot where you've been?
I could say the one that probably sticks out the most is waking up on the brim of the Grand Canyon and actually getting to see the sunrise. So I'd say it would have to be my favorite spot so far.
That's pretty cool. You were not in a truck, though, when you were at the perimeter of the Grand Canyon. You must have had to get from wherever you were to the Grand Canyon a little bit. They don't let trucks. Big rigs are parked at the perimeter, are they?
It was kind of like a makeshift truck stop. Like you get like 2 or 3 trucks in it, and I just happened to stroll across it at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning on a detour, and just pulled in there and parked, and I wake up, and there it is.
Wow.
And I honestly had no idea where I was at or anything at that time.
Did you film it with your camera or your phone?
Yeah, yeah. I took pictures and everything. I've got like 3,000 some pictures just from driving over the road.
Are you from Louisville originally?
No, I'm from southeastern Kentucky on the Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia area.
It's quite a corner. What's the actual town?
Williamsburg. It's in Whitley County.
So from there to the Grand Canyon, a little different scenery, huh?
Oh yeah, a big difference.
Was there a place you didn't like the most on the road?
Um, Probably driving through the Bronx.
Been there, done
Or
that.
Miami.
Cross Bronx Expressway.
Yeah, it was crazy for
Sean,
sure.
at such a young age, you've done a lot. 48 states, military service. Did you kind of feel like you'd already done it all, so you didn't really need to go see anything anymore? Is that part of the reason you're doing what you're doing?
Um, I enjoy I enjoy my job, and the biggest part of the reason that I do what I do is I know that I'm teaching guys that come in that have no experience or whatsoever, or in Joey's case has some, but not a lot, like I have, and I'm able to teach them something that they're going to carry with them for the rest of their life and their career, and they're going to build on it, and it's going to help them, their families, and stuff like that. So that's like the biggest reason I do it is I'm teaching somebody something that's going to last a lifetime.
You and Joey are just about the same age, but
Yeah,
Anna and Wayne and Russell, maybe not Russell, but the other two for sure could be your parents. Is it
yeah,
weird teaching people who are twice your age almost to do this, do that?
not really. I mean, I look at them all the same. So like age is it's like okay, well this person's this old. Well, I just kind of look at it and I'm like, okay, it's whatever. So like day one, they're all like, oh well, this is the youngest guy or I'm the oldest, and I'm like, okay, well that don't matter to me. So
You've been doing this about 3 months.
mhm.
Do you already have a pretty good feel, like you know, within the first couple of days when you're on the range with people whether they're going to pass or not? Can you tell?
um, I can tell who's going to struggle with it more or less, but as far as passing and failing, it's not that soon. Like towards the end, you can tell. Um, but I mean, I've been surprised before and thought, okay, this person's going to go down and pass, have no problems, and end up stalling the truck out and have to go back and retest. Or there's no way, or I can think, okay, this person, they're going to have trouble with this, and what's going to get them, and they go through everything and they pass it and don't have anything against them in the end.
The last class ahead of these guys, they all failed the pre-trip, which I assume
Uh-huh.
came as an unpleasant surprise to all you instructors. That you hammer, from what I understand from these guys, you hammer at home every day.
Yeah.
So that had to be a surprise. How are you feeling about this group? Are they a tight group? You like what you're seeing?
I from what I've worked with them and listened to them doing everything, rode with them, I don't see any problem with them at all. Like they should all go down there and pass first time around and go to wherever they're going to next.
I'm just going to guess here, Sean, that you, even though I'm a lot older than you, in fact, I'm twice your age, that we've had some similar experiences in this way. In high school, you probably had a lot of teachers who were a lot older than you, who were tough, and you were never going to be their friends, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes, right. You went out with Wayne and Joey last
yeah.
Friday. Is that something that Debbie encourages? Did she have to know in advance that the instructor and the students are going out?
Um, I mean, she knew about it. Yeah. I mean, it's not something that I'm gonna be like, oh well, we're gonna go and do this and then just kind of ask forgiveness because there is borderlines that you have to stay in between. Um, but I mean, I come back in Tuesday and they're like, oh well, do you guys have fun? I was like, yeah, sure did. So
Is that the
I
first
mean,
time that's sorry? Is that the
go
first time
ahead.
that's happened with you and students since June?
Uh, yeah.
What is it about those guys or this class that made that happen?
Um, Joey and Wayne actually live pretty close to me, and we didn't because we just got talking about the area, and they didn't mention where they lived, and I was like, well, that's like 2 seconds down the road from me, and me, me and Joey have more of a connection than what. Well, actually, Wayne too. All three of us were in the military, so it's like that brotherhood that you have in there. It still stays with the guys you're in with. So that's like why we've clicked really good, especially me and Joey, where we're closer in age and have a lot of similar interests and stuff like that. So it's like you can relate a lot better.
You know, Joey's been shy on one thing, and he's not a shy person, as you know. He hadn't fessed up to me about being in the military. What do you know where he served? What branch?
I'm not 100%. He was Army as well.
So was Wayne, right?
Yeah.
So you had a good time, but I heard you struck out though because you tried to convince Joey's girlfriend to become a TAT student, and she said no way.
Yeah, she was saying that there's no way she could do it. I'm like, yeah, you could. It's easy. I mean, and joking around, I was like, well, if I could teach Joey how to do it, then I could teach anybody. But Joey's honestly, he's coming here and just flew through it without a problem.
Before I let you go, Shawn, I really appreciate you doing this. We talked about the last class and what happened with them. Between what happened with them at the testing and what you guys have said to this group since, they're like scared straight. You guys have them. I just talked to Jason Horton, who thinks he's thinking pre-trip in the shower almost. These guys are just focused. What do? You don't think about pre-trip when you go home, do you? I mean, you take a break,
No.
right?
Yeah. I tell them, like this past weekend where it was 4-day or 3-day weekend, I told them go home Friday, leave their papers alone. That way they're taking a break from it, not burning themselves out. And then every weekend and every night I tell them go home, study your paper. Go home, study your paper. You have and make sure that you have this wording down. And when you get that down and you can actually go through everything with a confident voice and everything, then I'm going to be able to be like, okay, well, you know what you're doing, and not doubt it. So.
But I was asking,
Okay.
what would you do for fun when you're away from this place?
What do I do? I like to drive, really. Make like little random trips. I go back home, just try to relax, hang out.
You mentioned your son earlier. How old is your son now?
My son is 7. I actually have 3 kids. My oldest daughter is 8, and my youngest daughter is 3.
Is 3?
Yeah.
What are their names?
Rihanna, Ashton, and Sophie.
Is Sophie the 8-year-old?
No, she's the youngest.
Do they all live with you?
No.
How often do you get to see them?
I try to go down at least every other weekend, but the weekends I can't get them, then I'm gone. Like I just had them Saturday through Monday.
And how are you spelling Rihanna?
Do what?
How are you spelling your daughter's name?
How do I spell it?
Not Sophie, the other one.
Rihanna.
Okay. And Ashton is Ashton.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Shawn, thank you so much for taking the time. I will look forward to meeting you in person next week.
Awesome. I'll see you there.